being a black police officer, I've been looked at as a sellout because I chose to put on that uniform, whether it's crimes to little babies all the way up to elderly. He ended up having a loaded gun on him. The messed up part about 9/11 is still happening now because people are dying from the dust and all that stuff. You know, a guy touched a young girl inappropriately on a train. We were able to find this guy, track him down, and arrest him.
Welcome back to the Glasshouse. I'm joined today, of course, me and Michael. We're back, and not only are we back today, we actually have a guest on today. Now, this person, right now, we've always said we just want people who are interesting, right? Don't care about social media following, you know, how many fans they've got or whatnot. We want real life. What we would class as cool people, yeah? We can have a good conversation with. And today, we do have someone who I would class as cool. Not only are they cool, but they're as well, which is great. So this helps. Like, people are going to ask, like, how did you pull that? Listen, by luck, I suppose, and by fate. But yeah, we have on today, his name is, he is a detective for the NYPD.
Yeah, we're gonna add some claps in there.
Some claps.
But
That's crazy though when you actually say it out loud.
I know, but for you, it's probably just like, well, whatever,
it is
you know?
crazy, like when you say it out loud. A detective for the NYPD is
a detective for the NYPD, you see it on like film, you see it on TV shows. They're the cool guys, you know. We're arrested. And New York's obviously like the most prominent city in the world, you know.
It is the most. I think it's the most influential city in the world. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like the most well-known city in the world, right? So, and yeah, to be, you know, working for the police and then a detective, really cool. So fair play, good job. But yeah, I suppose what I want to start off with is obviously I'm gonna talk about your job. I don't know how much you love talking about your job, but really like. So I suppose the question is like, why did you get into policing?
I think one of the main reasons was because, and I'm not going to give you a phony answer like I like to help people and all this other stuff. I think it first started with myself. Like I wanted to try to find a job that once I retire, what is there to do?
Yeah.
Like, am I going to be eating cat food for the rest of my life after I retire? So I think one of the jobs that I looked into was within law enforcement because of the pension, the money that you will, the lifestyle that you will create from the money that you will earn after you retire. After you do your 20 years or 22 years or 25 years, you will be getting paid until you die.
Yeah.
Basically. So I had to think about the matureness of that as far as like what jobs can give me something, a sustainable living, because within the United States, you know, a lot of things that you guys probably don't have to worry about as much, like healthcare and social security when you retire, it's not as great there. So when you create a lifestyle for yourself by the kind of work that you choose, you'll be able to have a nice living afterwards.
Yeah.
So that was the number one reason why I went into this kind of work.
I mean, but like, because the way we look at it, right, like the police in our country, we'll ask you about it a bit later on about what you think about our police, but what we view, I suppose, your police and the American citizen, like we're thinking, you know, it's sketchy because there's guns and, you know, there's a lot of gangs and stuff, and obviously being in New York City as well. Like, I suppose my question is, like, the job's dangerous, right? And is there, like, I don't know, like a safer option?
How old was you when you joined the police force?
Well, let's start, like, I'm 46 right now, and I just made 10 years. So I started police at 36, 35. The cutoff is 35, but the cutoff is when you take the test.
Okay.
When you take the test and you pass the test, back then, they didn't call you as quickly. So it took about a year to 2 years after I took the test to actually get called and start the process.
That's crazy.
So if you age out as far as 35 and they call you at 37, but you took the test before you hit 35, then so when I was about 34, 35 when I took the well, actually before I took the test, I was 34. 34, and they took like a year to call me.
So when you was like 18, 19 and things like that, did you ever think you'd end up in the police force?
No.
No.
What were your thoughts on the
Absolutely not.
police?
Absolutely. My thoughts for the police, I was just like, they need it. We need
Yeah.
police. I was always a good kid,
Yeah.
basically. So I didn't, my brother's the total opposite. We'll probably
Yeah.
talk about that later. But so I always looked at the police that there was something that was just there and needed.
Yeah.
I didn't get into a lot of trouble as
Yeah.
a young kid, so I didn't have like, oh, I can't stand the cops or anything like that. I did what I was supposed to be doing, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And was that down to you? Was that down to you yourself to keep out of trouble? Because I'm guessing it's either one or two ways. You either get into trouble.
No, it's just the kind of stuff that I was into didn't create that trouble. The stuff that I liked, like I'm a nerd with computers and drones, and I was always into computers, into martial arts when I was a little kid, playing chess. Like those are the stuff that excite me.
Yeah.
So it's like,
no, that's cool. That's
no cop is gonna knock down your door because you put somebody in checkmate. you know, basically. So
But you grew up in the Bronx, right?
I grew up in the Bronx, born and raised in the Bronx, in the South Bronx.
So do you think like New York gets more of a bad rap than it like as it actually does?
Certain
Like,
boroughs
yeah.
do, right?
Oh yeah, I think New York, LA, Chicago, some parts of Philadelphia.
Because-
I know,
Oh,
but I
yeah.
can't tell you though, LA is a shithole.
Yeah.
It's
that's the thing. We get a bad rap because
Yeah.
those are the things that you're seeing constantly on TV
Yeah.
because that sells. But if you go to these communities within the Bronx, Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, and even Staten Island, same thing with LA. You go to certain parts of Southampton's, the Compton. There are great people who come out of those
Yeah.
places that are getting this bad name because of the media it sells or the movies what's being depicted in the movies.
But I am guessing some of them are as dangerous as.
Now you do have dangerous areas. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, go anywhere in the Bronx and you'll be fine. And same thing with other places. Just like there's certain bad areas here where you probably know more than I do because you guys are familiar with this area. But yes, realistically, there are bad areas. There are the gangs. There are the violence. There are the illegal things that are happening. Just like everywhere else, though.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah,
Just don't
of
believe
course.
everything you see on TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't believe it,
So,
basically.
so when you first started as a police officer, what do you call yourself? Do you call yourself a cop or a police officer? Like,
Well, the proper term is police officer.
police officer.
Everybody knows, like, those are the cops, or those are 5 or those are, the fuzz. Or,
So when you first started, so like what type of work were you doing when you first started? Because
well, when you first started, the thing that I do like about particularly NYPD is that everybody starts at police officer. You got chiefs, you got 5-star chiefs, whatever. They were a police officer once in their career. So everybody starts at that level, police officer. There's some people who start there and that's what they want to be.
Yeah.
They do 20 years at police officer, 25 years at police officer. And then, they take the test and they become a sergeant. They wanted to do that. Same thing. They take another test, lieutenant, take another test, captain. And, everyone has different goals. And, there's the detective route as far as detective technically is a parallel move with police officer.
Okay.
However, being at the media and TV, they make it seem like detectives are the shit, basically. I know some captains that come see their family across seas and they be like, I'm a captain. They be like, yeah. But who do you know as a detective? Being that you see stuff like that. So detective is technically a lateral move from police officer. So, but everybody started at police officer and we're known as police officer. That's the respect way.
Yeah.
We're like, officer so-and-so. And then the neighborhoods or the communities be like, those are the cops. You're a cop.
Yeah.
Like regardless if you're a detective, sergeant, lieutenant, captain, or chief, you're a cop. To certain people in certain communities.
So are you like, do you get put on specific sort of tasks, or is it just every day's a new day when you're a police officer, not a detective?
Well, see, the thing about this job, every day is a new day.
Yeah.
Your day yesterday is not going to reflect on being the same today.
Yeah.
You could go from having a very down day,
Yeah.
and within 30 seconds that day can change to we're up and at it and we're responding to something,
Yeah.
basically. That's one of the reasons why I do like this job, because every day is different, and you
Yeah.
do interact with millions of people
Yeah.
within your career on different levels.
Got a bit of a, I suppose, a deep question. Now,
Oh, here we go.
so being a black police officer,
Okay.
what sort of, I mean, what differences do you see as opposed to how a white police officer gets treated to a black police officer? Is it a case of you get more respect or more disrespect? And, is there,
Well,
do you see the differences?
To be honest, that's a two-part question. So the first part is like being a black police officer going into a black community, especially a community that I grew up in, because I started out in the Bronx and I was born and raised in the Bronx. I felt like I had the advantage, because when an authority figure that looks like you, that is experiencing almost the same thing that you're going through, and it doesn't even need to be a black and white thing, just anybody who has experienced the same thing that you've gone through, you have the advantage. So going into communities where I was born and raised and talking with people that I was familiar with, there's sometimes I bump into somebody I actually know, and I haven't seen that person in like 20 somewhat years. And it just de-escalates the situation of why I'm there from the door. Once I see a familiar face, or I'm able to relate to the situation that's going on there, the de-escalation begun right there at the door, opening up the door for somebody to see somebody that looks like them.
So they feel more calm. It's not a white guy and, they might shoot, because there's been obviously a lot of, but it always gets a good, probably not enough press, but there's always press on when black people are unlawfully killed by police officers, and majority, tend to be white. So they obviously instantly feel
the thing about that, when we've had certain situations that have come up, as far as like, George Floyd, and then the list goes on for miles, like regardless the color of your skin, when you put on that uniform, you are blue. So I've gotten flack for being a black police officer from a black person. Basically, I've been looked at as a sellout because I chose to put on that uniform and protect and serve. Even the person that is cursing me out, my job is still to protect and serve you, basically. But I've been judged because I put on the blue uniform. So I think it's harder for me personally. I think it's harder getting flack from a black person angry at me for putting on the uniform, and I'm a black person. So it's like, so, but I'm not able to speak on the other side, being a white officer, because I'm not a white officer. But I do have good friends that are white, or other than black, or other than brown or Hispanic, that they have it tough too. They have it really tough, because it's like almost like they're being judged by the uniform. At the end of the day, we are all men and women that chose to put on a uniform, and we're being judged by that, regardless of what color you are.
Of course. They'll put your life on
of course. So when you joined, like that was like Trump president?
No, this was way before Trump.
This would have been Barack, right? Would have been Obama.
Yeah, it would have been Obama. Yeah.
Was there a difference in the police force when Trump was president?
Well, not particularly the police force, but I think with the communities. When Trump became president, the communities changed. There was a lot of people, and it changes with every regime that comes into the White House and stuff. You have people that are for the presidential candidate, or you have people that are against it.
So, like, if there was somebody in the police force that was pro-Trump,
right,
would they be looked at differently than people who just, because there is people who literally hate him. There's people who hate Trump.
Well, I don't even think that's a police thing. I think when it comes down to is your elective official candidate that you are backing, somebody's gonna have a judgment towards you.
Yeah.
And stuff. Whether you're voting for Trump, Biden, Obama, anybody and stuff. Like, I happen to vote for X person, people are gonna have a feeling about
of course.
that. And so it's like that is, it's just gonna happen. So it's like my presidential candidate that I chose to vote for, it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's like you're gonna get it from all
Yes.
sides. Now everybody cannot see. We have Republicans and Democrats and liberals within the states, and everybody's gonna have something to say about left and
Yeah, of
right
course.
and middle, center, and everything, regardless who the candidate is.
Going from a police officer to a detective, obviously, I think you mentioned you got to take a test.
No, not for a detective, because it's a lateral move. From
So how does
police.
that process work?
So
how
the
do you
process
get
works.
sit down?
See, the thing about to become a detective, first off, you got to work hard.
Yeah.
Like this is before detective. You got to work hard as a police officer. You got to express like an interest. One of the good things about NYPD, we have like over 200 and something doors that you can explore, basically. So different. When I say doors, I mean different units that you could go into as a police officer. There's the task force. There's the detective bureau part. There's there's a computer piece of it. There's you name it, you can go into it. So one of the things is that you have to work hard and stand out. When I first was a police officer, that was my ultimate goal, was to become a detective. And my whatever it is that I was doing, I had to make sure that what, I want to do 2 times, 3 times that. I want to show up on time. I want to stay late. I was doing all of that as a police officer.
Yeah.
So to get noticed, then you apply, and then there's a whole interview process. And some of the interview processes, some of the interview processes are very intense.
So they like scenario based. So such and such did this, and how would you react?
Some interviews that I have been on are like that.
Yeah.
Which I hate those, by the way, because it's so subjective.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, there's no right or wrong answer, but one of the times I had an interview where the person that was interviewing me, they were like, so you go into a room and you notice that there's cracking cocaine here, and there's a baby in the other room crying and everything. What do you do? Oh, your radio is not working. And, you can't call for backup. And the elevator's not working. It's like, I'm like, come on, like
Yeah. So the unit you're in right now, I know you said it to me, but obviously.
So the unit that I'm in right now, it's a special victims unit.
Yeah.
And one of the things is I always tell people, number one, when I tell them what unit I'm in, when speaking in just regular conversation, I say, number one, I don't know Ice-T. I don't know.
That's funny.
I don't know.
What is that?
It's SVU.
What is it? Oh, yeah.
SVU.
Yeah.
Special victims and stuff.
Wait, that's based in New York, right?
That's based in New York, but it's aired all around and stuff like that. One of the things about this unit, it's a very serious unit. And it's needed. Yeah, it's definitely needed, because you do have people out there that are doing like these crimes, and it's like, wow.
Yeah.
Whether it's crimes to little babies all the way up to elderly.
Yeah.
And stuff. Whether they're touching them inappropriately, doing things. You got the assaults that are motivated by motivated by these crimes.
Yeah.
You need a unit like this.
Yeah, of course.
And so I'm part of a special victims.
It's intense, right?
That work is crazy.
And somebody has to do it, and God bless you for doing it. But like, how do you switch off? I suppose is my follow-up question for like how do you switch off from being, okay, I'm a detective, I've just had to deal with this, and this is crazy, right? Like how do you switch off?
Well, you being a cop or being in military, there's no really switch off.
Yeah.
There's just none. Whether you go into a restaurant and you're sitting with your back, back away from the door, with your face facing the door, that's not a switch off. You know what I mean? People like to say, oh, I turn off by going camping and all this stuff.
Yeah.
You never turn off.
Yeah.
It's just like being a dad. Do you ever turn off?
Yeah.
Like whether your son is, 1 month all the way up to 25.
Yeah.
Your son calls you in the middle of the night. Are you turned off? No. And
Yeah,
stuff like
yeah,
that.
of
So
course.
you never turn off. It's just how you deal with it and how you incorporate it into your life.
Do you get? I was probably suppose it's quite deep still. Like, is there more sort of on the job sort of therapists and stuff, especially for
They definitely
detectives, for like yourselves who have to deal with specific crimes?
they do have that for everybody. That's
Yeah.
available for every officer.
Is it more? I wouldn't say focus, but do you guys get like that extra?
Do we get
because
special?
of?
No, I don't think we get extra. We get extra only if you want extra.
Okay.
Basically, it's all depend on the person.
Yeah.
So it's like it's out there.
Yeah.
There's numbers you can call. There's other peers you can, like colleagues you can speak
Mhm.
to. And if you want that extra step, you can call a therapist that's provided for you.
Yeah.
And if you want to meet with them every single week, that's on you.
Yeah.
If you want to meet with them once a week or 3 times a week, you can do that. So
Yeah.
that's the extra. The extra comes from within yourself.
Yeah.
It's there.
Have you?
Yeah.
I suppose you might have seen like some people just can't hack it. Like
Right.
I suppose it takes a specific type of person to be able to do a job like that. So have you seen like people just like, no, I can't do it, quit, and just
Yeah.
move on?
You do see that, and it's one of those things. You have this vision before you actually do it.
Yeah.
And you have this vision that I'm gonna make a lot of money. I'm gonna get all the girls or the guys, whatever it is that you're into. Let's be politically correct here. You have this vision, and it's like once you start, and it's just like with everything in life, you start and you're like, wait a minute, I gotta stay 12 hours. Wait a minute, I gotta stay 14 hours. Wait a minute, I just made an arrest and I gotta stay. Or wait a minute, I gotta come in on my day off.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So it's like that with every job. Like your expectations is different once you start to be in it and you hit the ground running. And it does take a toll on some people who do not know how to, to shift their lifestyle. They don't know how to. I'm not gonna say turn off because you don't turn it off. It's always on and stuff. So they just don't know how to like really
Cope.
They don't know how to cope, and they don't know how to like differentiate or divide their time
Yeah, I hear it.
or prioritize their time.
I suppose as much detail as you can without, obviously sharing what could be sensitive information. The craziest sort of experience or moment on the job that might have happened that sticks out, or maybe even the scariest part, just any sort of like.
Well, I have two. I think when I first started, I think this was within my first 3 years. I got a gun collar. A collar is an arrest, by the way.
Yeah.
The guy hopped a train. Well, hopping a train means that you don't pay your fare.
Yeah.
Basically, you just hop the train or you walk through the emergency gate without providing proper entry into the train through a Metro card or I don't want to get U.S. terms and New York terms. You guys like what? So it's called theft of service.
Okay.
So the guy walks through the gate, and I'm standing right there, like in uniform, nothing hiding or in plain clothes, because I was part of a plain clothes unit as well, where I show up to work like this, basically. So the guy doesn't pay his fare, and I look at him like, yo, did you pay your fare? He's like, yeah, she let me in. He's pointing to the attendant, MetroCard, the booth attendant. And I asked, so one of the things is, I'm like, maybe she did, maybe my eyes didn't see. So I asked with him right there next to me. I said, ma'am, did you let him in? She's like, no, I didn't let him in. I let the other lady in and stuff. So I sat the guy down, had a conversation, him and my partner, we had a conversation with the guy. To make a long story short, he ended up having a loaded gun on him and stuff. And I was able to, because I'm the type of person I like to de-escalate.
Yeah.
And, I escalate when it's needed, basically. So I'm having a casual conversation with this guy for like 20 minutes before I put him in handcuffs. I already know I'm going to put him in handcuffs. but you could start seeing how, you know, he sat down and how he placed his bag. Usually when we're sitting, like, make believe this is a bench.
Yeah.
When I pull somebody with a bag, I have them sit down and I put their bag where you are.
Yeah.
So if there's anything in that bag, they gotta reach for it
yeah.
and stuff. I don't want that bag nowhere near you and stuff. So he put his bag down, and I took his bag and I placed it to you, and you could just see him looking at the bag as he's talking with me. He starts sweating a little bit. So long story short, like, I put him in cuffs and I go straight to the bag, basically, because I'm about to put you into a vehicle where there's probably other defendants or other perps in the van. So I don't look into the bag because it's against the law to search anybody's bag. But
is it?
Yeah, that could be a totally another podcast.
Yeah.
So I took his bag, and you could feel the outline of a gun, basically. So with that, like, that's basically a gun in there. So long story short, he had a loaded gun on him. And once I put him in cuffs and everything and discovered that it was a loaded gun, your heart is just like, your heart.
Yeah, because you're like, you could literally, if that bag was any closer to me, you might have sketched out. You don't know what frame of mind he's in. You don't know what else he's trying to protect. And
you don't know who this person is. I don't want to go back to jail type person, or,
I suppose it was like a reality check, right? Like, yo, like, if that was like one mistake away from, you know, he could have just pulled out the gun, sketched out, shot, and then run off, you know? So, I don't know, that's crazy.
So that was one. The other one was just recently with one of my first collars within this unit that, you know, a guy touched a young girl inappropriately on a train. Total stranger, basically. And we were able to find this guy, track him down and arrest him and stuff. That was like, it wasn't scary, but that was like a meaningful moment.
Of course.
What I do and stuff. And I was there was another time where, because every time we arrest a guy within this unit, we call the victim and we tell him, like, hey, we got the guy.
Yeah.
And you could hear it. And one time I called the victim and I was speaking with her father, and her father told his daughter that we caught him, and you could hear her celebrate in the back. Like, woohoo! She was actually saying that, and it's like, it gives you this sense of, this is why.
Like a buzz, and like, I bet you couldn't sleep that night. Your adrenaline through the roof, like, woo! I did it. Yes.
Yeah.
Nah, but that's serious though, man. I would like, man, like, what better feeling could you, I mean, there's a couple better feelings, but you know, what better feeling than that? Yeah, that's crazy.
So you get those stories, you know, I know other people who have chased guys down, like running a foot pursuit, and they chase the guy, and the guy is wanted, and not only in New York, but he's wanted in different states and stuff, like, for, you know, something crazy, for attempted murder, or, you know, for something like that.
What's the hardest part of your job?
The hardest part, to be honest, now the hardest part of the job is because in an ideal world, in a fantasy world, you catch everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody gets caught at the end of the episode of SVU. Everybody gets caught. Or not, it's part 2, and they get caught at part 2.
Arrest every episode.
The hardest part is not catching that person at that moment. Like, you have done everything possible to catch this person. I mean, you've interviewed, you went out to canvas, you pull video footage from everywhere. You've interviewed his mother, his father, you know, his babysitter, anybody who made themselves available during the investigation, and you didn't catch that person that time. That's the hardest part, because it's not hard on you, it's hard on that victim.
Yeah.
And stuff. And you have to tell that victim that, listen, we didn't catch him. That doesn't mean it's over. Yeah. It's just right now we didn't catch him, but we're still looking. And it's like a disappointment.
Is the biggest struggle like locating the person? Is it, suppose, I mean, not for any criminals to take tips, but is it easy to like elude the police in the city?
Well, nah.
Because it's such a big city and so many people.
I think that's everywhere, though. Like, there's people that will, you know, Osama bin Laden was hiding under a rock. You know what I mean? You know, it's anywhere. If you don't want to be found, you will make yourself not found.
Yeah.
And you have help by, you know, family members love you. They don't want to give you up.
Yeah.
Regardless what crime you did. Now, there's some family members that's like, nah, you gonna take your ass out of here. and I'm telling the cops you'll be here Tuesday,
Yeah.
and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
No, of
So you
course.
do have family members. So it's like it's not easy. It's just sometimes it just works out that way.
I suppose on the flip side, then, what's the best part of your job?
The best part of my job probably when you do catch the
When you
guy.
do catch him,
when you
yeah,
do
of
catch
course.
him, even for the most smallest misdemeanor crime, which right now it could be for smoking a cigarette on a train.
Yeah.
When you know you're not supposed to be smoking, you stop that guy for he just committed an infraction on a train, basically a violation on a train, and he was smoking a cigarette. You stop that guy because you don't know who you're gonna stop. You stop that guy, you run his name, and you find out that guy is wanted for raping somebody,
Yeah.
and in Jersey or in another one of the other five, 4 barrels and stuff. So or the 5 barrels. So that's the best part. Like
Yeah.
when you're able to stop somebody, catch that guy, and it's like, wow, like
Yeah.
I put that guy. This is a bad dude.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what? Like, what triggers me out more than anything is like, have you ever lost anyone to gun violence?
I've lost people to gun violence, but it wasn't someone that was close to me.
Okay.
And stuff. I know of a
Yeah.
person that was, or a couple of people that due to gun violence.
Like, I don't know anyone.
Yeah, of course we don't.
That's what I mean. Like, so
Right.
for me, it's like a completely different world. Like,
Yeah.
I think, I don't know if it's everybody in America, but most of the people in America that have known someone or someone close to them have died from gun violence.
Right.
Like, that's crazy. Like,
It
that
is crazy. It's it is, and I think you guys here now, crime is everywhere, but I think one of the things is your government or your setup here as far as healthcare, education,
Mhm.
it doesn't create that I'm better than you. You know what I mean? So where I'm from in United States, we have to pay for our healthcare. We have to pay for our education. It's like, oh my gosh, it's hundreds of thousands of dollars for educate certain parts of education. Where it's gonna create this kind of class system. So it's like when you have someone here that you don't have to really worry about education like that, that if you choose to go to school, you choose to go to school. And it's in the city, it's like, nah, I'm not going to school because that's going to cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Mhm.
And then now it's going to create like, oh, that person went to school, that person's getting a better job or a better interview than you are because you don't have those qualifications. Now it creates this thing like, damn, like I want what you have, but I can't afford it. So therefore, now you're going to create violence and stuff. Violence starts to creep up. And it's like, I'm being very like, just, I'm jumping around the place a little bit because I could have a whole total podcast on that alone. So it's like, yes, I do know somebody that, died of gun violence. I also know somebody who died of drugs. I know somebody who died of heart disease. My mom passed of heart disease. These are like heart disease is the number one killer of African Americans within United States, I could say. But you don't hear about that.
No, of
you know what I
course.
mean? But you will hear about the gun violence.
Yeah.
And the gun violence it's tough because I've grown up in areas where you can hear the gunshots.
Yeah.
You can hear the sirens like I hear right now in the background right now, and stuff like that. You can hear, I've seen dead bodies and stuff growing up in the Bronx.
Do you think your job would be easier or I suppose safer, in the UK rather than the US? So I think maybe speaks for itself, but I want to get your opinion on it. And
So if I did my job here,
if you did your job here, how more safe would you feel, or would you not feel as safe?
oh, that's a good question. All your other questions, I was like, bang, bang, bang. Yeah, that question pumps the brakes. Most of you guys don't carry weapons in your police. So if I was to come over here with my same mentality, I would probably be scared.
Yeah, because I was saying, yeah,
I would be scared
Yeah.
because
You
I don't
feel
have
like-
the.
yes.
I feel like I'm not equipped with
100%.
a
Yeah.
situation that may escalate to deadly force
Yeah.
and stuff. So if a guy is coming at me with a level of deadly force, I don't feel like I will be able to protect myself if I don't have, if I don't have a weapon of that same matching that caliber or above that caliber of amount of force that he's bringing towards me.
Yeah, I
if
get
you
it.
understand that.
Yeah, no, I get it. Because
Yeah.
I suppose it's for you guys, obviously, I don't know if you're trained that way, but you've always got it in the back of your mind, like treat everybody like they've got a gun on them.
No, not really. We're not trained like that.
But
We're
somebody
trained.
could have a gun. It's always in the back of your mind. Like in here, it's like, okay, it's like very, very rare somebody might.
So yeah, so we are trained like that as far as like every situation, treat every situation. The ultimate goal for police officers in NYPD is to sign out and go home to your family.
Yeah, of course.
That is the ultimate goal. Every situation or every call that you respond to, you should be thinking about my ultimate goal is to sign out and go back to my family. So you're put in these situations where you don't know at all. You don't know. So, you know, you de-escalate situations right there as they present themselves. You tell people to step out. You tell people, let me see your hands, because when you see people's hands, you see their hands, literally. But if I show up to a scene and your hands is in back of you, I don't know what's in back of you. It's not that you have a gun in back of you. It's that I don't know what's in back of you. And I would like to know what's in back of you, or I would like to know where your hands are.
Yeah.
Basically.
I hate to be the guy, but have you ever had to use?
I have a hat.
Have you ever had to use?
Or had to use
Your weapon.
my weapon? No. Well, the only time I had to use my weapon is at the range.
Okay.
As of right now,
Touch wood.
for target, you know, to
Remains the
qualify. That's the only time I had to use my weapon. Did I had to take my weapon out at one time? Yes, I had to take my weapon out, but I didn't have to use my weapon.
No, that's good. That is good.
Any famous cases?
I consider all my famous as far
Yeah,
as
as in
famous
like
people.
media. As in like media.
We do
attention.
have media cases. I had one, and that one, but it wasn't like media. It wasn't like fame, like what we call famous cases as far as celebrities. That's what you mean?
As in like something that would make the news.
Well, mostly all of our cases, as far as special victims, make the media,
Okay.
or they given to the media to help, you know, close the case by catching a guy.
Locate the person.
So we have to, yes, exactly. So we have to put it out there with the media.
Okay.
Any?
What
I mean,
about,
no names.
What about famous? Though?
Yeah,
Famous as far as
any creepers? There's
I
gotta be in
haven't had
the city.
I haven't had any famous, but I know people who
Down the
have
grapevine.
Yeah.
Okay, you can tell us off camera.
Yeah, I'll probably take it.
I wanna ask about stereotypes. I know I've been saying shit all week, like freeze, motherfucker. But like, I want to just clear up some stereotypes because obviously we seeing Ice-T and all them doing the special thing. So like, as a detective, you don't wear a uniform. You wear the shirt, the tie, the suspenders, the holster, the leather brown holster, right?
The pipe.
Yeah.
The pipe, Inspector Gadget.
They come out smoking a cigarette, throw it on the floor. Okay, what we got here, boss, with a notepad?
What we got?
Yeah, but you don't wear a uniform. You wear a shirt and tie. And
I wear a shirt and tie. Most of the time, shirt and tie.
what about
the suspenders is by choice. Like if you into suspenders, you
everybody
wear
wears
suspenders.
the
I think they're pretty cool though.
Yeah,
I don't have any. I should get some though. I think they're pretty cool.
Oh, they are cool.
We don't say freeze. That's another thing. We don't say freeze.
So what do you say? Stop?
No, we say police don't move.
Oh, okay.
You know, because the thing about it, you have to be so clear.
Yeah.
Now, you say freeze, people are like, what is that?
Yeah.
Like I'm playing freeze tag. You want me to be like this? And stuff.
Freeze.
So when you articulate yourself by saying police don't move, when you go to court and a person can't say, well, he didn't tell me to stop and stuff. He just told me freeze. Like, no, like he said police don't move.
Okay.
We don't say freeze. That's definitely a stereotype. We do have people who smoke cigarettes on the job and stuff like that.
But they like when they step out the car, throw it in the puddle, stamp it out.
I'm not out there, so I don't know because I don't smoke.
Yeah.
so maybe they do throw it in a puddle and create that ripple effect and think it's cool. Maybe they don't. I don't know.
Okay. Another stereotype. Do like detectives get like they work from like 12 till 12? Like midnight, get 2 hours sleep and drink like 5 cups of coffee and then back in.
There was one time that I actually had to spend the night at the job.
Okay.
I had to spend the night. That's just how it happened. Like it didn't make any sense for me to travel home because in the next 4 hours I'll be waking up to come back to work. So I had to stay there, basically. So you do get cases where it's like you're not going home, or your partner, you're not gonna leave your partner high and dry, because they just got an important case, and it was like an hour before you was gonna sign out and go home, but your partner just got a case, so it's like, I guess we're staying here tonight, basically.
I see. I've always wondered as well about time off. Like, it never looks like. I mean, police officers. Police officers get time off, but when it's like detectives in the films and stuff, it like never looks like the job stops. So like, how does like the time off stuff work? So if you've got a case, like, is there like a handover to like somebody else? They've got to carry on doing it, and you've got to pick up other people's work when they're off. Like, how does that work?
Every single film you work till the case is done.
Yeah, you work till the case is done, and then you get like 5 months off, and then you're back in.
Nah, it's sort of like what you said. Like, you don't hand it off, but see, the good thing about the unit that I'm in, we work as a team. And when I say a team, not just the people on your team, the 3 or 4 or 6 people on your team, the whole office works as a team.
Yeah.
So before you take time off, everybody knows about your cases.
Yeah.
Because we're constantly talking. If us 3 was a team, I will know about your cases. That, you have 3 cases that consist of this person, that person, and this going on. So that when you decide to take time off, I'm able to pick up your case.
Okay.
And I'm able to help you out. And so it's like we didn't miss a beat, basically.
I think the films have always lied to us.
Wait, I
think films have actually lied
I feel
to
like
us.
they have. Wait. So when you interrogate, do you interrogate people?
We do.
Okay, so is the thing like an actual thing, like good cop, bad cop? Is that a technique?
That is an actual thing. Sometimes it's not. It doesn't happen like in the hallway where it's like, all right, we're gonna go in.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be the good cop. You're gonna be the bad.
What's
cop.
your favorite role to play?
I'm more of the. To be honest, I'm more of the good cop.
Yeah.
To be honest, and I'm more of the like, okay, well, you did that, no big deal.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
But I have several people that I know that it's bad cops. As soon as we walk in there, I'm like, yo, you got me ready to say.
So is like the other guy usually like a fat white guy with like grey slick back hair?
No,
That's
not like that.
And he wears like a flower shirt.
We do have ethnicities of all types of stereotypes within the NYPD, whether it's the fat white guy or the muscle black guy or the Italian styling.
Yeah.
It goes on because we have a melting pot of individuals within this job.
Because it's New York, right?
Yeah, because it's New York. So we do have all stereotypes.
Yeah.
You name it, we have it within NYPD. But it's like I said, it's like, it's not like you go in there and you see the guy in the trench coat and it's like he's smoking a cigarette while he's
dim light and it's like there and it's swinging.
Yeah, it's just swinging and it's like, and it's flickering too. So it gets your mind. It's like
there's always a woman captain behind the thing as well.
Yeah, is that a thing as well? Like the mirror glass?
In some setups there is that in some setups, but in most setups, no, we don't have that.
Cool.
They are out there. But it's like you don't go into a police station like, let me see the glass where it's only one way where they see a mirror and I can see them and they can't see me.
The Batman effect.
Yeah.
Where did the donut thing come from?
Yeah, I was gonna ask that.
Police officers.
We talked about it yesterday.
He said The Simpsons, but it was way before that. I don't even know. I think you.
It was Chief Wiggum because he loves the donut.
No, it was way before that.
It was way before that. You would have to Google that. Like, I've heard back in the days that. I think this is the answer, that donut shops used to be open late at night.
Right.
So if you were working late at night and you got hungry, you would go get a donut, basically. And probably somebody saw that and just ran with it. It just was like, yo, cops like donuts.
But it doesn't help. In the films, you actually see some police officers sitting in a police car eating donuts.
Who doesn't like a donut, right? Like you eat
Everyone
donuts?
loves a donut.
If it wasn't donuts, it'd be cookies.
Bro. Yeah.
But Dunkin' Donuts.
The Dunkin' Donuts. Yeah, it don't matter what donuts they are.
What's the one we have here? Krispy Kremes. I don't like them.
Well, to be honest, it's any place that's open 24 hours. And because you police, you have shifts 24 hours.
Right.
Basically, you have the day shift, the afternoon, and midnights. Something needs to be open for.
That's a hard balance.
Do you know what's another one as well? Police officers, when they finish their shift, it doesn't matter what time, whether it's 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, they're always at a bar.
They always
having a
what?
drink. They always go and have a drink afterwards.
Nah, that's definitely a stereotype.
Honestly, like, every time.
Now,
They're always
that-
at the back
that
of
was
the
like,
drink.
ah, man,
It's a
the
stereotype.
rest all get smashed.
Well, that's a stereotype because that's whatever it is that you're into to what's it called? Decompress.
Yeah, decompress.
You know,
yeah.
some people go to the gym. Some
Yeah.
people will go to the bar and
Yeah.
you know drink responsibly, of course. Some people go for a drive. Some people go home listen to music. Some people go to church. Some people, you know, it's always a stereotype. It's the movies, you know, the Yippee-Ki-Yay was diehards and stuff like that.
Yes.
You know, it is an amazing movie.
It's amazing.
But yeah, that's a stereotype. It's whatever it is that you're into, basically, to allow you to decompress, to shut off at that time.
Yeah.
So, like when you was a kid, did you have like, you said you had brothers?
Yeah, I have one brother. That's it.
1
year younger than me.
Was like in the community, was it kind of like, we hate the police?
Well, within my community, like it was definitely that we hate the police, but it was the people that hated the police was doing something that they shouldn't have been doing.
Yeah. So
Okay.
Their asses got caught, and I hate the police.
Yeah.
That's why you hate the police because you got caught.
Yeah.
Basically, the police wasn't a factor
Well,
within you because you didn't get caught, or if you wasn't doing anything wrong. Basically, so if you was doing something wrong and you got caught, I hate the police. F the police, basically.
Do you think like media and stuff played a part in that, like the films, the music? Do you
Oh yeah, definitely,
yeah.
definitely.
Because
has that.
I've never been to New York. I've never seen, but I've watched Paid in Full about 50 times.
Oh yeah, paid.
You know, I've watched Paid in Full. Don't be a menace. South Central. Oh, like I've watched all of them and I love them films. But if you're from that community, I'm guessing you're kind of like idolizing it. Do you know what I mean? Kind of situation.
Well, the thing is, like some people will idolize it. Some people actually hate those films because it's like, wait a minute, the Bronx doesn't look like that. Wait a minute, we don't talk like that. We don't
right,
do
yeah.
that. We don't.
Yeah.
You know,
No,
so
that's right.
you have some people that look at that stuff and be like,
it's a bad
no,
representation.
Like, this is messed up because it's making us look bad. And you know, you do have a lot of films, even films out now. It's like I watch certain films and I'm just like, I get the entertainment aspect, but then I'm like, this is not facts.
Where do you stand then? Like, Paid in Full was based off of Alpo. So obviously someone that was
Right.
a drug dealer in New York and stuff like that. I don't think, if it's is it fictional when it's true?
No, non-fiction.
Non-fiction. So if it's non-fiction, I think that's fine. But if you're basing it and then you're glorifying an actual
Right.
person who done that to the
but
community.
they glorify criminals in films all the time if they're real life criminals or they're
Right.
fake criminals, you know. But they need to start making more cool cop films.
But they-
Lethal Weapon. What's that one? Is The End of the Watch? That's a very good
Yeah.
film.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
That's a very good
it's
film.
sad though.
Very
Is that the one with
sad.
Jake Gyllenhaal?
Very
Yeah,
sad.
man.
Very sad.
Such a good film. But yeah, they need to start making more.
But
And-
they still do it. Like 50 Cent just put a show out now with Big Meech.
yeah, but
Yeah, that one.
But I think I mean at the end of the day, right? If you're in trouble, like who are you gonna call? At the end of the day, it's not gonna be the Ghostbusters. It's gonna be the police,
Nah.
right? So if you're in a sticky situation or you need help and
But I think people
whatnot.
go out on their shield. I think people will be like, I'm still not calling. It doesn't matter what type of
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah,
No, but
there are some people that choose not
They
to call. They
they'll
just
go out on their shield. It's crazy.
yeah, of course, and then they'll just get in trouble themselves. But for the people who ain't actually criminals and still just supposed buy into the media, the music, the films and stuff like the police, but you've never actually had a reason to not like him. You're just saying it because it's cool. You're still gonna call the police when you have trouble.
It's gang culture big. In
well,
New
gang
York.
culture is big. I can only speak for New York. Gang culture is big within, yes, the 5 boroughs. Gang culture is big. It's one of those things that I can't personally speak on because I was never part of a
Yeah,
gang
yeah.
and stuff. I did grow up in an area where I knew that gangs existed and stuff. And
Was
I
it like the red or the blue? Was it like
what Bloods and Crips
Yeah,
and
was
stuff?
it-
There was more like I think I grew up around Bloods. There was more of the red,
Okay.
basically. More of the red. But like I said before, I didn't get into trouble like that. Like
Yeah.
I didn't get messed with as a little kid, as a kid growing up 8, 9, 10, all the way up to 17. I didn't really get messed with because it was one of those things that I didn't put myself out there. Like, I don't walk around tough or anything. I was very humble. I was into martial arts too. A lot of people knew that and stuff. They used to call me Bruce Leroy. I don't know if y'all know that term.
What's the film?
We talking about
The
Last Dragon.
The Last Dragon. That's
With Bruce Leroy. And then my brother, he was the total opposite. He was involved with those gangs and all that other stuff. So maybe I didn't get messed with because of him.
That's what I was going to ask.
Maybe because, and then they knew my existence. Like, oh, don't mess with Bruce Leroy. That's I'm not going to say my brother's name to put him out there. That's his brother. So everybody within the projects knew each other. Well, we call them projects. It's like housing developments that people live on top of each other. So the gang violence and the gangs were there in front of my face, going to school, walking to school, in school.
Because I suppose someone who is young, who doesn't mess with gangs, especially like maybe more back in the day, they would like an easy target.
The thing is, I would say so. I just think like it's just like in an animal kingdom.
Yeah, of course.
You prey on the weak, the one that's in the back, the one that's away from the herd and stuff like that. So it's sort of like we all animals technically and stuff. So it's like, within the animal kingdom, it's the same way. Like they did get messed with. And it's like, if you didn't like, sometimes it's like a test. If you didn't stand up for yourself, it's like, you're going to get messed with again and again and stuff. If you got robbed once, you're going to get robbed again.
When I come to New York, now a stereotype, they're going to have like, oh, I want to go on a ride along. And they got like the person in the back and they're like swinging left and right and stuff. Could I actually, right, do a ride along? Is that an actual thing?
From my perspective, and I'm only talking from what I know, that answer will be no.
No, it's not a thing.
Depending on, I think, because it's an insurance thing. Like,
right.
Like I said, like we go from zero this conversation to like I gotta go right now.
I will wave my life away just so
no, you won't. No, you won't.
I'll sign any paper as long as I can bring a camera. What if I just have like, when they have like a journalist or something on their vest and they got a bulletproof vest?
Nah, they don't exist legally. From a legal standpoint.
Yeah, there's no way, right? Like there's no way you could just jump in a police car and be like, woo, I'm gonna ride along. Huh? Cops is fake.
It's fake.
Oh, the show Cops?
Yeah, it's fake, right?
The thing about the show Cops, like...
Was it just filmed in Florida? Because they're all batshit crazy.
I think they did have a New York episode. They did. This was years ago. I think in the 80s or something like that. And I don't know how it turned out, but like... I don't know. Basically, that... somebody come out... Well, we do have like... media that follow us around as far as for certain task force or whatever, and they probably I don't know, but I know they film from afar. They're not right there and stuff, because it's a safety thing.
Yeah,
and usually the media is there like the after effect or during the morning time when they all getting briefed as far as what's going to happen and stuff. But going out there, ride-alongs totally fake. Then there was a whole film with Kevin Hart and Ice Cube.
Like,
no, I don't know what they do in California. I don't know what they do in LAPD.
Yeah.
As far as, and like I said, my perspective, I haven't seen somebody vest up and they going out with us for the day and they're a regular pedestrian, just want to get a ride along or experience. No, because it's like you have these dangerous jobs that you're showing up to a domestic where. Or EDP, we call them an EDP, emotionally disturbed person, like somebody that's mentally disturbed. You're showing up to them, you don't know what's gonna happen, and if you're riding along with me,
and just like,
they could have a knife, they could have a gun, they could have whatever in their house, and where you at? Next to me, riding along.
Hell no.
If I ever see a TV show or a film and it's someone doing a ride, I'm turning that shit off because it's
like it's real. Not like it's. You can end up, one day you're here, the next day you're not, because split-second decision, and I don't want to make a split-second decision with you on my ride-along.
I just realized you have to wear a vest every day when you're on job.
When you see the thing about the vest is there is a level of protection. One of the most main levels of protection is your vest. So whether or not you're in plain clothes, whether or not you're in uniform, you should have on a vest.
Okay.
Now, there are certain assignments where you can't wear a vest because it's like if you're undercover or anything like that, I'm not gonna show up with a bulky vest on and I'm not the police and stuff. But you have to go through the proper channels to get permission not to wear your vest. But most of the time, when you see a cop that's in uniform or a crime team officer or detective, you should have on a vest.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to, because that vest, I've seen that vest work.
Yeah.
The only time when it doesn't work is because you chose not to put it on. Basically.
Yeah.
Is it that easy though to access a gun?
Access a gun in America? I personally, in New York, we have very strict laws.
Okay.
Strict laws. So I can't speak of any other states. I know a lot of states, because I was talking about this earlier. I think when I went to go see, visit my family in Virginia, people were walking around with guns on their hips and stuff, and I was like, whoa. Yeah. So in New York, it's harder to get a gun, a pistol, or a handgun, as they say. Rifles has always been easier, and stuff, because of hunting, and you have to be certain age and certain qualifications to get a rifle. To get a handgun, it's a lot harder to get a handgun in New York as far as legally.
Okay.
Now, illegal, it's easy to get anything illegal anywhere. If you want it, you will get it. Anything that's here in the UK, illegal, if you have the money, you can get it, basically.
I'd be strapped up, me. Obviously, the legal way, but I would have guns if I lived in America.
I don't know, it's just different to me. Like, it's just...
I would definitely have guns. Yeah. Only in the house. I wouldn't walk around with one, but in the house, I think it's important because it's not me that wants it. It's for me to protect, in case somebody comes in.
Yeah.
So.
Watch this. What about Rudy Giuliani? Do you like him?
Do I like him? That's another thing. It's like with politicians, I like the person that's gonna do the right thing for the people.
Yeah.
Now the problem is, everybody seems to want to do the right thing for the people, and then when they get into office, it's sort of like they stray this way and stray that way, forget about that.
Didn't he clean up the city at first and then just became crazy? Because that's
one of the great things that I could say Giuliani did. We have this place called 42nd Street. Wait, I'm sorry. Yeah, did Rudy Giuliani clean that up? I think he did clean it up. It used to be really full of prostitutes and everything. 40 Times Square, the big place where everybody goes, the lights, the red stairs that are there. That wasn't there back in the days. So when Rudy Giuliani came into office, he did a great job as far as cleaning that area up. His responsiveness to 9/11 when that happened, I think he was mayor around that time as well. Oh, was it Bloomberg? One of those, but I remember seeing Giuliani. He was very, he had a staple position as far as responding to 9/11 and stuff. So I just leave it at that. Yeah. Like, I can see all the good things that he has done. I do like Mayor David Dukakis. Like, a lot of people don't know that he was the first black mayor of New York City. So I love him. Just for becoming that accomplishment, I think that was very difficult. Now we have another black mayor, Mayor Adams. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him, and he used to be a police officer. He used to be a captain, I believe. Nice. So he's doing the best, that whatever he feels that the best he's doing, that's what he's doing. You see how I wrapped around that question?
You was in New York for 9/11.
Yeah,
that's.
Oh yeah.
Well, actually, I was in college at that time. I was in undergrad college. Now I was actually away. My family was definitely in New York, and it's so weird because my mom, she was alive at that time. My mom used to work down there, and my mom used to she used to be on time for everything. That's why I'm always on time. And I think that day she had an appointment or she was sick and she didn't go.
Wow.
And stuff. And I know a lot of people who have that same story that, they took that day off for some reason, whatever it is, and they were able to avoid it. The messed up part about 9/11 is still happening now because people are dying from the dust and all that stuff. Yeah. Yes, people are
it's
still...
more than what the initial impact was.
People are still passing away from that.
The firefighters, the police officers.
People responded to that. Also, the people who actually died on that day, the families are still suffering today from that. But it's so surreal when you hear somebody passing away of 9/11 related
crazy.
conditions.
20 years on as well.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So like what's the like? Do you know how there's like so many conspiracies about the 9/11? Is that just in New York you cannot speak about that because it's ridiculous?
No. I mean, people speak about it. See, the thing about New York, everybody's has a free mouth. Like people are just freely rude, polite.
Yeah.
They speak their mind. They will confront you. The confrontation is, person, if you get, cut off in traffic, a person will come out and try to fight you. And I think that's everywhere, but I've seen it in New York, like, yo, dude, like it's not that serious.
Yeah.
Or even over a parking spot. Like so there's theorists that they will run miles with the way they feel and their theories and stuff. So they're out there, and it's like people speak it, and you're more than welcome to listen to it, or you're more than welcome to say, "Listen, I gotta go."
Yeah, of course. I just don't know how I'd feel in that situation.
Well, from when I went a couple of years ago, you can cut it in the air, like the tense sort of eeriness like around it as well. Just knowing the fact like it was like a major moment in history, and so many people has lost their lives and continue to lose their lives affected by it. Like the whole area, I felt anyway, because obviously I'm not from there. It was just like very sort of like just a strange feeling,
Yeah, when you visit the area, you could just feel
you can feel
the emotions and just everything. So particularly within that area, it's just it's quiet. It's like
it's very quiet.
People don't really want to say anything.
Yeah,
especially the tourists who visit that area. It's like it's almost like some people feel like you don't have a right to feel what we feel because you weren't there.
Yeah.
Or you didn't experience. Same thing with the people that are from New York, but you didn't lose somebody during 9/11.
Yeah.
So it's like you will never understand, including myself. I would never understand how it felt to lose somebody on that day when the planes hit that tower and the towers came down. I won't understand that. I won't be able to relate to it. I might be able to, sympathize with it instead of, but that's about it.
Do you know what though? Even watching that in real time, still must.
Is it the case like within the city as well? Like people from the city, you kind of know somebody that was affected by it?
Well, it's not even. See, I believe that everybody who are from the city was affected. Same thing if you were watching it on TV, you was affected in one way or another.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like everybody in this world was affected, and it doesn't mean the way you was affected is more stronger than the way I was affected.
Yeah.
But I just know like losing somebody during that
stuff. So
it's like, do I know somebody? I know a couple of people who actually lost somebody from the towers coming down or from the 9/11 related illnesses that lost somebody recently.
Yeah, it sucks. I mean, I was 6 and I can still remember seeing it on the news.
I was 10 years old just because.
So you weren't 6, pal?
I was 10, and I think New York is 6 hours behind, right?
Yeah.
So it happened at 9.
We seen it like late afternoon.
So for you guys, it happened
at like 3:30, I think, in the afternoon.
Yeah,
when I finished
it was
school.
early for us.
Yeah, so
it was like late afternoon.
Was it?
Yeah, about 3, 4.
Yeah. But I think I saw it about 3:30, and I could just remember seeing it.
Crazy.
And it was just like I've never seen anything like that before.
I being 6.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Right. To end on a more positive note. What do you? Because when you said cops, then right, cops is bad boys. Is that the theme song? Oh, woo, side of the police. Do you ever listen to those songs that get you hyped?
Never.
Well, as far as those theme songs,
yeah, like you just check it on the car. And you're like, bad boys.
That's gotta be the cringiest thing.
No,
that's gotta be the cringiest thing.
I mean, if you do
but
it,
but it's like watching. Do you know what? I'm going out on a case. I'm gonna watch Bad Boys now.
Yeah,
no, I don't think.
No,
but imagine some people might do that.
No,
they
don't. Like it's so not like that.
It must be me. I'm like whoop whoop.
And if they do, we look at like it'd be like one thing I say about NYPD. Like you gotta have thick skin, and what I mean by that is like you gotta be able to take a joke.
Yeah.
and stuff. So if somebody started singing Bad Boys, we'll look at them like, yo, what are you doing?
People,
Like,
yeah, people don't still do that though, do they?
No,
what?
but when I
It's
went,
like sing Bad Boys to you because you're a police officer.
You talking about the public?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I've heard it.
Oh,
Like, I've
that's
heard it
cringe.
before. Like,
when I went to New York, there was like, I think it was
I've also heard
construction
the
workers.
NWA one. The police. Like,
Yeah. Oh
that's-
yeah, I can
I
imagine that.
heard that one more than
Yeah,
I
that's
heard the other
wild.
Bad Boys.
Yeah.
Bad Boys.
Yeah, there was like construction workers like I'd like having. There's probably banter. They were just like, "Hey, suck my dick," and you're like, "Hey, f- you buddy," and it's like, yeah, that type of shit. But
What?
yeah, I get what you mean. You
What
gotta
about
take a
police
joke.
officers? Do they practice their poses in the mirror with their gun?
Bruce.
No.
Or you just do the
Absolutely
lethal
not.
weapon pose, you know?
Absolutely not. I don't know what people do in their free time, but no.
Surely the lethal weapon pose, like straight down
Or
the.
Charlie's Angels and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like absolutely not.
All right, we've debunked the stereotypes. We're good to wrap it. Like I said, favorite episode, Mike.
I could.
Well, you gotta
I
say
could
it
do-
now, 'cause
I
he's in
could
front of you.
literally do it for another hour. So
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's getting warm. But no, it was a great conversation, and appreciate you coming on, being open and honest about your
Yeah, thank you.
experiences and stuff. And yeah, that was cool, man.
I
Yeah.
never. I want to go to New York. I've never been. I'd love to go.
Okay, I gotta make sure I
Wanna go.
pick him up at the airport.
For a ride along. Ride along, yes. But yeah, no, appreciate you guys watching. Make sure I haven't even done any of the like, subscribe, and all that fun stuff. And yeah, we'll catch you in the next one.